flip the bird on the bima. That was me. He had two choices in this movie. Yep. 3 more guys just went. So happy. Ready? Go.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Feel free to take off your coats. It's warm this week. The heater's working again.
Stay a while.
So, yeah, hang out, get comfortable.
We've got woolen hats on.
I know. And overcoats over sweaters.
We've got quite a Shabbat for you.
Shabbat is such a gift, such a respite from the world. We turn to page 129 as we give thanks for Shabbat with Ki Eshmerah Shabbat, page 129. Please join us. Ooh, it got happy all of a sudden. Ki Eshmerah.
Sorry. No, sorry.
Erase.
We are in the right key. I thought we were in the wrong key, but we're in the right key. I was just testing
Are
everybody.
you in the right key?
I'm needing Shabbat badly. Here we go. Ki
Eshmerah Shabbat El Yishmereini. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat El Yishmereini. Oti leomean beino uveini. Oti leomean beino uveini. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat El Yishmereini. Ki Eshmerah Shabbat El Yishmereini. Oti leomean beino uveini. Oti leomean beino uveini.
Before we let in the Sabbath bride, let's take a little time to welcome each other and to wish each other Shabbat Shalom. And please introduce yourself to at least 2 people you didn't know when you came in tonight. We continue with Lecha Dodi on page 138, and we'll be singing verses 1 and 9, page 138.
Lecha Dodi,
לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל גן יוחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, סגולה, בואי חלם, בואי חלם. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
So I want to just say a little reminder about why it is that we rise. When we stand for certain prayers, it's to manifest physically how we feel on the inside. It's a sign of respect. It's something that we do with our bodies to convey what we feel on the inside. It's not because God needs us to stand, it's because it's something we want to do. So if you're somebody who has difficulty with standing, stand in your heart, stand with your spirit, just sit up a little bit taller. Don't feel like you have to stand up. Honestly, I don't think God is paying that close attention to us. I know there's a lot going on in this world, and I don't think that's what gets God annoyed. So if it causes trouble or difficulty or pain to you to stand, just sit up straight, and it will do exactly the same thing. It's my pleasure and my joy to invite up our bat mitzvah this weekend, Juliet Cami, to join us on the bima. And I'd like to invite her father, Abraham, to join us as well, to do us the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles. The blessing for the candles can be found on page 120. But first we continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 142. Stand right next to your
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Amen.
Amen. Good job.
Archuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem v'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We rise for the Baruch, if you want to, on page 146.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated.
We continue together on page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, with whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim.
Ahava Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahata Amcha Ahata Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limata Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu u'kumenu Nasiya bekukecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hechayenu Ve'ore yameinu Uvahe nege yomam v'layla Nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavat ha'al tasir Mimenu le'olami Baruch atah Adonai Ohei Amo Yisrael Ohei Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch
Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
We continue together with the Ve'ahavta on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Please join us on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר וקודש, נורא תהילה עושה פלא, נורא תהילה עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, פוקע לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Please join us in the Hashkivenu on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Gamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu malkeinu lechaim.
It's my pleasure to invite up all of our B'nai Mitzvah students, including any adult B'nai Mitzvah students who are with us. You're looking around like maybe it's not you.
Yeah, come on up.
All of our B'nai Mitzvah students to join us on the Bima to do us the honor of leading us in the Vishamru and the Tefillah. Page 162.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam brit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam brit olam.
Please rise for the tefillah on page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi tehillatcha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geula Lifnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Chozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mekayeh Yaakov Atah Rav Le'Oshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechayeh Hakol Berakamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofech Cholim Umatir Atzurim Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afar Michamocha Ba'gevurot Umidom Elach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'neman atah lechayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mekayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom Yehallelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue praying privately from page 172 through 180, either standing or sitting as is your custom.
Adonai,
Adonai,
Suri,
Suri,
Adonai,
Suri v'goali.
Adonai,
Adonai,
Suri,
Suri, Adonai, Suri v'goali.
Go inside your heart,
Just be.
go inside your heart
and see
what it wants,
what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see.
May the word
May the word
of my
of my mouth
and the
meditations of my heart
be kind,
be kind,
be true,
be true,
may they
be acceptable to you, oh my rock, my rock and my redeemer. Yehiyu lerasonim refi, regyo libi. Yehiyu lerasonim refi, regyo libi lefanecha.
Our hearts turn towards those who are in need of healing, a healing of body or a healing of spirit. We take a little time to think about those in our lives for whom we're praying for tonight. Hold them in our hearts. Try to think of ways that we could ease their pain, ease their suffering or their loneliness right now. And we meditate on those thoughts of healing and of help as we offer a Misha Berach, the words of which can be found in your Shabbat flyers.
Mishaberach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer.
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 Hear our
Hear our
prayer.
prayer.
And
Bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Misha Berach Imotenu.
hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our
Hear
prayer.
our prayer.
Hear 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 our
Hear
prayer.
our prayer. And bless us as well.
Shabbat Shalom. So today's topic is let's talk about anti-Semitism. I don't know about you, but this has been on my mind a lot. I have found that over the last 8 weeks, I found myself to be very depressed in kind of a constant state of going between being numb and wanting to cry. And I could listen to the news for a little bit, and then I kind of shut down, and I have to turn off the news. I can handle about maybe 3 minutes on social media before I start to just lose my mind. As you guys know, through most of my rabbiting, I've been very involved in social justice causes. And through that, I've been able to become friends with a lot of people in different communities, people who I truly thought of as friends. And one of the things that I've started to see is that my perception of the world and reality and the place of Jews in it is very different than that of how others see it. So let's look at some information before we talk. U.S. anti-Semitic incidents are up about 400%. 400% in the last 2 months. I think it's fair to say that we were all stunned and shocked when we saw the 3 heads of Ivy League universities meeting, being in a hearing in Congress about anti-Semitism on campus, and they could not say that calling for genocide of Jews is hate speech, and it only crosses the line when it is acted upon. I don't know about you, I really don't want to get to the point where we're acting upon the idea of genocide on Jews. And the fact that it wasn't until then that we've crossed a line, I think for many of us was startling, to say the least. We've seen anti-Semitism rise not just against Jews, but it is staggering against both Jews and anti-Muslims, often coming to violence. The anti-Muslim hate activity is often coming from white supremacist type people who, thankfully, not coming from the Jewish community in terms of, at least in terms of violence. But it's a reminder to us that in this country, it's very unsafe to be an other, whoever that other is. I think for many of us who identify as women, it's been shocking and upsetting that the Israeli women on October 7th who were brutalized haven't been believed. Just haven't been believed. And that's a frightening thing to many of us. And it's not just happening in the United States, it's happening in countries around the world. This is from an article in England, and I can't make it larger, so I'm going to read to you the part that's in the circled. In the 17 days, that's it, after the Hamas terror attack, the UK's Community Security Trust, a charity monitoring anti-Semitism, recorded 600 anti-Semitic incidents. 617 days. I want to remind you, it's a pretty small Jewish community in England. It's nothing compared to the Jewish community in the United States. It's a 641% increase from that same time period the year before. Of these incidents, 185 occurred online, including abusive language, harassment, and threats of violence. Similarly, in the week following the attack, German monitoring organization RIAS recorded 202 incidents, a 240% increase in the same period from the previous year. And hate crime data from London's Metropolitan Police recorded an astonishing 1,353% rise in anti-Semitic offenses between the 1st and the 18th of October. And it's everywhere. It's not just about you see it not just on social media posts that have to do with Israel. On Facebook, there's a Facebook page that I like to follow. It's Jewish Women's Archives. It's an academic site where they post about different notable Jewish women in a variety of accomplishments through the ages. So a few days ago, I was looking at this one. It caught my eye because the artist Helen Frankenthaler has the same last name as a friend of mine from rabbinical school. Frankenthaler's not that common of a name. So I looked at it. I looked to see if he had commented on it. And what I found, so just a little backstory, 1928, Helen Frankenthaler was one of the most influential of the abstract expressionist artists of the mid-20th century. Absolutely nothing about her art or what she's doing has anything to do with Israel. She's just Jewish. This caught my eye in the post on this. I am an enemy of Zionists. I am not an enemy to any Jew who is not a baby killer. So the first assumption is we're all baby killers, with a few who are not, and does not support baby killers or does not applaud the oppression of Zionist Israel. Zionists and Jews are two different things. To hell with the vile baby-killing Zionists and their supporters. To be honest, it rattled me. It's not one of the things that I thought I was going to see there. And then when I was going back and looking for this thing so that I could screenshot it for tonight, I came across this, which is on the same post. Somebody went to a lot of work to post the Palestinian flag and hearts, Palestine forever, no Israel hell. To which somebody responds, are you kidding? You have to spew hate when the post is about an influential artist from decades ago? To which he responds, you call this hate? Stupid Jewish. I don't think he understands what hate is. I don't know. Not terribly bright. No one else sees the irony that he's making an anti-Semitic comment to defend him not being anti-Semitic. No humor? You got to find the humor in this, people, or you will go insane. And then, oops. Oh, my slides are not aligning with Ryan's slides. There we go. In fairness, I kept sending, no, that's okay. I had an extra one in there, but don't even worry about it because there's plenty of slides. Don't even stress it. What? I may have sent her a lot of versions today. Only like 3 or 4. So, closer to home. Chabad, as you know, often puts out menorahs in public spaces across the country. On the picture on the left, you could see what the menorah on the stand looked like in front of Lake Merritt. And on the right, you see what it looked like after it had been thrown into the lake and destroyed, with some anti-Semitic graffiti posted on it as well. Then there was this article that I came across this week, which I also found terribly upsetting. 13-year-old charged after allegedly planning a mass shooting at an Ohio synagogue, according to court docs. And then the really sad part was I was relieved to see that this was before October 7th, that it was old news and not even new news. It was just that the kid was charged this week, but the attack, or the alleged or attempted attack was actually back before Rosh Hashanah. The Jewish Federation, I hope all of you had filled out their form that they had done. They did a Jewish community study of the Sacramento region. This fall, they got the results back from the survey. And of the 10 most important services that the Federation can do for the Jewish community, 84% of the respondents said combat anti-Semitism. The study was done before October 7th. Also in the same study, in the Federation, if you look at the Federation email blast, they're going to have a number of opportunities for us to learn and kind of debrief about their findings from the survey. But on the section on anti-Semitism, 91% of the affiliated community members believe that anti-Semitism is a problem in the Sacramento region. 91%. And then the ADL is a great resource to see what's happening where, not just with anti-Semitic groups, but with any hate groups. And they track anti-Semitic events. So this is a map showing data on anti-Semitic incidents just since October 7th of 2023. It's actually an interactive map, not on my screen, but if you go to the ADL website, it's an interactive map so that you could see what exactly is happening where, and it gives you more details about what is going on. but I found the most important thing is, oh yeah, I don't think you got my last version of the slides because I wish I had my little light pointer. There is? Oh, that's exciting. Okay, wait. Oh, I have to keep it held down. The last line says, since October 7th, the ADL has recorded 2,031 anti-Semitic incidents, including 905 anti-Israel rallies. The 2,031 anti-Semitic incidents are just those that are recorded. I know from looking at the map that some of the stuff that I've heard from kids here in Sacramento were not recorded. So to give you an example of something that happened to two of our first graders here at B'nai Israel who go to a nice public school in the area, first grade girls. One of the girls in the class, a little white girl, not Muslim, not Palestinian, not Arab, told the other little first grade girls that Israelis are ripping the arms off of Palestinian babies, and let's play the game of get on an airplane and kill all the Israelis. First grade. This is not normal behavior for first grade girls. So, let's talk about anti-Semitism. And basically, I have 3 questions to ask you. How are you guys doing? Are you encountering anti-Semitism in your life? And how often is anti-Semitism on your mind these days? This is an interactive discussion. I shared with you what's giving me anxiety and stress. Oh. So when you get the mic, make sure you point it towards your mouth and have it like really close to your mouth.
So I was in the car with 2 of my friends on the way to an event, and when we were in the car, we went past a bunch of Palestinian protesters. And when I was in the car, everybody just looked at me in the car and like, "Are you okay?" And I couldn't exactly just say that I wasn't okay because nobody in the car was a Jew. And so I just kind of had to sit there and like think about how everybody there was protesting against my religion, and that like I couldn't do anything about it and nobody was.
So first of all, I'm glad your friends asked if you were okay, and I actually think that showed a lot of sensitivity. And here's, I think, part of the complicated part with this. They're not protesting. To protest what is happening in Israel and Gaza is not necessarily to protest Judaism. However, we see many of the signs and many of the protests crossing over the line. I think it's totally legitimate for somebody to say they are for a Palestinian state. It's totally legitimate to be against war, to be against any senseless death. I don't know any Jews who are, doesn't mean there's not people out there, but at least in my circle, I don't know anyone who is happy about the death of any of the children, who is, and I don't know anyone who's happy that there's a war. That's never like that nobody wins in a war. Nobody comes out without pain and suffering in a war. However, what we see is that things quickly slide into something else, into are you a good Jew or are you a bad Jew? Are you a good Jew and criticizing everything, or are you a bad Jew? And if you try to say something about your experience, it quickly becomes a tit for tat. If, this is a conversation that I had just recently. If I say, it's hard when I talk to my son in Israel and the sirens go off and we have to get off the phone because he has to run to the bomb shelter, then I'll be told, well, isn't he lucky to have a bomb shelter? The implication is people in Gaza are not lucky to have a bomb shelter, as though it is somehow Israel's fault that Israelis are not dying in larger numbers. Missiles, how many of you know that rockets are being shot daily throughout Israel? or that the ceasefire was not broken by Israel, and that during the ceasefire there was not one but 2 terrorist attacks in Jerusalem, of which Hamas took responsibility for, and Israel still did not stop the ceasefire, even after those two terrorist attacks on Jerusalem. And yet things slide into, I was listening to CNN, actually I don't know if it was CNN or MSNBC this afternoon. I was waiting for my son to pick him up from school, and the newscaster, it was MSNBC, newscaster pushed back at the person she was interviewing, saying, why are you insisting that it's Israel that do the ceasefire? Why isn't anyone demanding that of Hamas? And the guy goes, oh, well, because it wouldn't go anywhere. It's like, well, that's not a good enough reason. And so it's scary because there's a blurring of the line. It's not just that they're protesting Israel. You'll see signs that are threatening to us as Jews. And when you see signs that Hitler was right, or signs with swastikas on it, and these are things that we've seen at all of the different protests, it's clear that, yeah, it's not so much they're protesting our religion, because secular Jews, most Israelis are secular. They're protesting our very existence, the fact that we live. I saw somebody.
I'd like to start at the bottom. Anti-Semitism is on my mind constantly. Yes, yeah. No. It's constantly on my mind. And I have had, because I don't have a day job. I don't get out much, stuff like that. So my exposure is limited to the news. It's limited to what I see on Facebook. And just as you do, I can only take so much. And out of all of my friends on Facebook, I've only had 2 people in the last 2 months ask me how I'm doing. So, and I'm encountering, pro-Palestinian posts and things like that, and I just don't feel like engaging, because it just seems like it's pointless, because then I would have to go back 2,000 years and do a history lesson. However, on the flip side of all of that, I posted pictures of our cats sitting in our window with the full 8-candle Hanukkah, and I got so many likes and loves and people wishing us happy Hanukkah. So I know there's a good sentiment out there, but it's just so overwhelmed by everything else. And so how am I doing these days? I have no idea.
So you do raise an interesting point. So on the flip side, on the positive side, I've read that the sale of Jewish paraphernalia and ritual items and T-shirts skyrocketed. And I've seen over the last couple of weeks many people who've come up to me during the Oneg and said, I haven't been to services in years, I haven't done stuff in years, I'm feeling like I want to be with my people. Because there is nothing to make a Jew want to hang out or do Jewish as somebody telling you that being Jewish is bad, and then we get very defiant. And it's like, you don't want me to do Jewish? I'm going to go kosher. We double down.
I was in the mall one day with my mom walking around a store, and when I turned back to about to check out, I saw a bunch of the doors being closed because the pro-Palestine protest had come in the mall. Yeah, and it really scared me, and I felt so scared that I hid my Jewish star necklace because I just didn't feel comfortable, and I went to the back of the store. It was really scary, especially because one of my friends was in there without her parents. And then they just wouldn't leave, so me and my mom were able to sneak out, but it was really scary.
It is really scary because we've seen with some of the protests that they're going after people who were Jewish, and that you see a Jewish star and they see an Israeli flag, and it is terrifying. I'll come back up. Joe?
So I know that you've seen some of my story. There's been a lot. because I'm transgender, so I tend to frequent a lot of queer spaces, very kind of lefty queer spaces. I was very involved with the Lavender Library for about 5 years. And, I kind of knew that this would probably happen at some point, but so, yeah, a lot of the people in leadership positions, in powerful positions at the Lavender Library, started posting to their social media, not just vitriol, but disinformation, things that were objectively, factually incorrect. And, when I tried to raise that at the Lavender Library, it very quickly became clear that my presence and my voice was no longer welcome in the space. And it's felt like a breakup in a lot of ways, because the library was a very large part of my life. I was the co-chair of a committee. I did a lot of leading meetings. I was the head cataloger. I did all of the materials purchasing for that library. I did a lot of guiding the collection, and I even made changes to the classification scheme, the nitty-gritty of what happens in a library. And so yeah, that was definitely really hard. It kind of felt like a breakup, but I also know that, most of the time that I was there, I was the only Jewish person in the room. Yeah, no, I know. I was the only Jewish person in the room. And anyway, but I also know that there are some people there who have been trying to speak out against the anti-Semitic vitriol that they're going public with, and as an institution, as an organization. And their voices are being silenced. They're being harassed and bullied into silence. The people that I know who are on the board who have been trying to speak against this. And yeah, so I've had so many really horrible experiences lately, but I think that one's been really hard because of just, I lost half of my friends in one go. That's a big part of my social circle, just gone.
And I think a lot of us are feeling that sense of isolation. And I'm going to come back to you, this one.
I've had a whole bunch of experiences at work that have been kind of crappy, one or two that have been okay. But the thing that affected me the most was getting texts from my son Jack, who's at Sheldon High School. And
Just keep in mind this gets live streamed.
okay,
So, just.
that's fine.
Protecting Jack.
Yeah. And unfortunately, he's not the very talkative kid. He doesn't say a lot to a lot of people. But he texted me about some anti-Semitic remarks and things that were happening at the school. Very angry. And my son doesn't get angry about this kind of stuff. So he ended up getting a little more involved and confronted the situation, which I was really proud of him for doing. But seeing that effect on him kind of really affected me.
Juliet?
Last Friday at school, somebody drew a swastika on the baseball field in the sand, and that was just really scary, and I felt really unsafe, because I know it's just scary to think that there are people who hate Jews, and it felt really close to home because it was my school. So yeah, that was just really scary.
Yeah, it's unnerving that in America people have absolutely no problem drawing swastikas. It's the same as Osama bin Laden. Do you guys know that he got popular on TikTok? And Osama bin Laden's letter to America was trending on TikTok, and people are like, oh yeah, he spoke the truth. And to see that, and to see symbols of Nazi Germany just being used by Americans is unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at the Temple Coffee, and my friend, who's my like athletic trainer at the gym, and we met at the Temple Coffee to. He was doing a Hebrew lesson with me, reading Hebrew, and relearning some of the stuff I knew and learning new stuff. And I got there a little early, and we were outside, and there was a group that was close to us, and I saw a woman, and I saw in her purse I could see the Palestinian scarf, the black and white scarf, and so I said to myself, okay, I'm just going to be open-minded, because I was trying, because of all that's happened, I kind of think of that as the terror scarf, and that might be totally incorrect, but so as my friend came over and pulled out his material, and we were practicing reading some Hebrew and the alphabet and so forth, I guess the group that was next to us, it was maybe a couple seats over, they saw that we were speaking and practicing Hebrew, and they got up in a big huff and ran off. And I wasn't really concentrating anymore on them, because I was trying to learn what he was teaching me. But I just said, I don't think we can go to the Temple Coffee on Fair Oaks and Monroe and peacefully learn Hebrew. So I said, just come by my house and we'll do it over there.
And there is absolutely, and I think this goes to what you were saying before, there's conflation between Jewish and Israeli religion and politics and ethnic identity that's quite unnerving. I don't know if you guys know who the singer Pink is. So Pink, she's Jewish, and she posted a picture with the Hanukkah menorah, and I think she said something like, to those who celebrate, Happy Hanukkah. And somebody responded to her post saying, wow, you're really like tone deaf to be posting that right now. And first of all, it was Hanukkah, absolutely nothing political in it. And her response was, really? Tone deaf, like, because it's what, not politically convenient? What did she say, like that I'm alive? Yeah, for me to be alive or to exist. And there's that fear of doing basic Jewish things like studying Hebrew, which becomes a political statement right now, and it's scary. So what are you guys doing? Okay, raise your hand if you've had anti-Semitism on your mind a lot in the last couple of weeks. So what are you doing to make yourself feel safe, to feel better? What are some of the best practices that we could share with each other to give each other comfort?
So I was thinking about like what Juliet was saying about her school, like she's not here. And my school's like the complete opposite. We have like two Jewish teachers in the 7th grade, and yeah, Miss Khan. Okay. And it makes me feel really safe being able to have two teachers who I'm able to go to like I'm able to talk about like different holidays, and I have not seen any real anti-Semitism at my school. And I'm not sure about like lower or high school, but especially middle school, it's like a really safe space.
And it sounds like it's a safe space in part because you have adults who you could lean on. And nice. How about anyone else? Michael. Ouch. Yeah.
So I want to echo some of what Joe said from the perspective that I've been involved in progressive political activity my whole life. I'm not trans, but I've been involved in...
So that people can see you and you're not just a voice.
I've been involved in the peace movement. I've been involved in multicultural stuff to try to promote a multiracial, non-hating world. And I have friends that have been my allies through that work for 50, 60 years. And they continue to use the language that Zionism is racism. And when they say they're anti-Zionist, they don't get what a Jew hears when they hear that. I hear, you are okay with genocide of all the Jews who live in Israel. You're okay with either killing them or just getting rid of Israel. When people talk about from the river to the sea, that may mean one thing, you know, in terms of a Palestinian state, but to us it means annihilation. And it breaks my heart into two conflicting things. I want to be a Zionist, and I also want to be a progressive. And this gigantic wedge, as Joe is saying, happened to her with her friends, and you personally, that it leaves me in a state of despair where I have things that I have to do in my life, and I continue to try to do them. But literally, I get up in the morning, and I don't feel like putting one foot in front of the other. I don't want to live in a world like this. And I feel like I've been doing the work to make the world better for a long time, and it gets worse. Right. And it's depressing, and but I don't know what to do about it. But
so I have some ideas. One is, I do think it's incredibly important to limit any social media that you're on. It's not healthy. It's just really not healthy, and these are echo chambers. It's not a place where you could have meaningful dialogue and meaningful discussion. However, I think it's important that we continue to talk and try to have dialogue with our friends and colleagues who have different opinions. One of them is about from the river to the sea. One of the things that has been being tested lately is how many of the people are using that slogan who have absolutely, literally no idea what river and what sea. And once you start talking with them and engaging with them, they start to go, oh, now I see. Now I understand why people are freaking out about that. I don't think most people realize that literally half of the world's Jewish population lives in Israel. And that when you say Zionist, it really does mean Jew. Or at least 95% of the world's Jewish population think of Israel as having a right to exist. The other thing is, I don't think it helps going back 2,000 years. If we say, oh, they'll say it started in this year. No, it started in that year. No, that doesn't help. We have to talk about today. We have to talk about going forward, and we have to try to compassionately hear what the other person is saying. And what I am hearing, I don't know that those on the other side always hear it, but what I'm hearing is there's a tremendous amount of pain. And I do think there's a tremendous amount of pain everywhere, but we have to be willing on both sides to acknowledge each other's suffering. If we don't get to the point where we can acknowledge it and hear it, then we're not going to get to a point where we could actually find a peaceful solution. One sec, because for the sake of time, I gotta wrap it up. The other is to remember we have been unbelievably lucky to be born when and where we have been, and to live in an extraordinarily unique time for the Jewish people. Most of us have never encountered this type of anti-Semitism before, and we've been very lucky. Our prayers are here to comfort us. The way that our community is set up is meant to provide us with strength and comfort. I gave a sermon some years ago saying Judaism makes so much more sense if you just imagine your Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof, and suddenly everything becomes clear. The world is scary, and the world is hard, and the world is often unkind. But that doesn't mean that we get to be scary. It doesn't mean that we get to be unkind. We still strive to be the best versions of who we can be. We still live according to our values. And we come together to draw strength from each other when our own personal wells have dried up. So come to services. Go to youth group. Do the things that make you feel safe and whole and happy. Talk with the people who understand what you want to say when you don't even have to say it. It's comforting. It sounds weird, but it's like, if I say, how many of you have been thinking about anti-Semitism, and you raise your hand, it's like, yeah, I'm not alone. At least I'm not alone. There's other people that I could go through this experience with. There's a reason why community is one of the #1 values for most Jews. It gives us our strength, and it gives us our comfort. Hillel lived at a time that was terrifying for the Jewish people. We were under attack. We were looking at possible annihilation from Rome. And he said in the midst of the madness and the chaos, Im ein ani li mili, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? For years we had the luxury of focusing on, if I am only for myself, what am I? Now is the time to focus on, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Because in order for us to engage in tikkun olam, in order for us to engage in creating a better world, we have to start by creating a safer world for ourselves. So come to Temple, go to Federation events, be involved in the JCRC, go to camp, do the things that give you strength, and together we'll get to the other side. It's my pleasure to invite up our president, Jay Chenier, for some Shabbat greetings. There we go.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's just take a minute and breathe for a second. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations. I just want to add one thing if I can, and I think finding those things that make life worthwhile finding those things that make life worthwhile is really important. I actually came here from an event in Oak Park that I had helped do something for. I got to follow your husband. Now I get to follow Rabbi. And where we put together a program, 25 people will be able to purchase homes for the first time. And if we think about generational wealth and the cycle of poverty, it was really uplifting to do that. So I think beyond coming here on Friday nights, which is important, finding those things that give you hope is very important to do. Take that minute. A few announcements. Torah study tomorrow morning at 9:30. We have a wonderful bat mitzvah coming tomorrow morning at 10:30. Sunday, December 17th, 10:10 a.m. I don't know how you got to 10:10 a.m., but you are doing Coffee Talk with Rabbi Alfie. Okay. So that is 10:10 a.m. exactly. Coffee Talk with Rabbi in the Sosnick Library. Should be interesting. Oh, I can't do that. Confirmation class olive oil fundraiser. They're selling olive oil to help. We actually bought one and used it this week, and it's very good, so I'd recommend that. I'm not sure where you get that, though. Do you know? On the website. On the website. Okay. Looking ahead, Friday, January 12th, we have Second Shabbos Membership Shabbat. Join us for an evening celebrating CBI's membership community. And we have, I think this is really important, unlike most religious institutions, including synagogues, during COVID, we actually gained membership. We're about 621 families now as members of the temple. And most people lost people. What we found is we continue to grow, which we'll continue to. Friday, January 26th is Shabbat Shirah. Cantor Julie Steinberg, CBI Choir Director Luann Higgs, and the CBI Choir will present special music for the Shabbat song. Looking forward to that. It will be good, Julie says, so you should all come. There's a new class, Introduction to Hebrew for Adults, and that is on the website as well. And then registration is now open for Stars and S'mores, April 5th through 7th at Camp Newman, which would be a really very cool 3 days. And if we're thinking about being with our community, that's going to be a wonderful place to do it. So with that, let me ask past presidents, committee chairs, anyone else who has something, a message that they want to put up to stand up, and we'll recognize you. Nita, do you want to start?
Or here.
Or Steve?
My name is Steve Orkan. I'm a past president.
I'm Nita Davidson, and I'm the Shamus coordinator. If you don't know what a Shamus is, you should talk to me during the ONEG. We're looking for volunteers, and you actually get your name, you get top billing in the Friday flyer if you volunteer.
Steve, I think we got a new job for you. She'll get it.
So y'all know me, I'm the librarian, but I also want to say I'm actually a member of the JCRC, so if anyone wants to talk to me about the JCRC, you're welcome to do that.
Hi, Bina Lefkowitz, past president.
Judy McLeatherwood. I'm the choir wrangler. I schedule people to chant Torah on non-B'nai Mitzvah days, and I'm chair of the music committee. It's not too late if you want to sing with the choir. Give me a call, email me. We have rehearsals on Wednesday. You don't have to be able to read Hebrew. Everything is in letters you'll recognize. You don't have to be able to read music. We'll teach you. But you have to be able to sing, yes.
That rules me out. And no, we're good. And then I think the Purim Spiel producers are also looking for folks who would like to participate in that. Steve Marshall is the one to talk to. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Jay. Shabbat Shalom. It's my pleasure to invite up all the B'nai Mitzvah students to come join us once again on the Bima as we continue with our concluding prayers, beginning with the Aleinu, which is found on the bottom half of page 586. For those who are able, please rise. Your call.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korein, umishtachavim umotim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim ve'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yakaru b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo begovei meromim, Hu Eloheinu einod, Emet Malkeinu efetzulato, Katuv betorato, Ve'adata hayom ve'hashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, Ba'shamayim ima'ah, Ve'al ha'aretz ve'al
מתחת עינות, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated.
Nicely done. Our thoughts now turn to loved ones who are no longer with us. And tonight I'd like to say a brief word about two of the people who are on the Kaddish list tonight. The first is about Rabbi David Ellenson, who was my very beloved teacher at the Hebrew Union College. Rabbi Ellenson passed away the morning of the evening of Hanukkah. And during Hanukkah, you're not supposed to give eulogies. You're not supposed to mourn. It is a time of celebration. But for those of us who were blessed to have been his students or blessed to be his friends, Hanukkah felt a little darker this year without Rabbi Ellenson being in this world. Rabbi David Ellenson was a native of Virginia, a sweet and gentle man who was raised as an Orthodox Jew, but in college yearned to find a way to balance tradition with living fully in the modern world. He was one of the great scholars of his generation. He was a historian and what we would call a rabbi's rabbi. I truly did not know a single rabbi who did not adore him and truly love him. While he was my professor, and I had the privilege of being a mother's helper to his wife, Rabbi Jackie Ellenson, while I was a student, spending time with his family. As I've thought about him in this last week, I remember none of his classroom lessons, but what I remember is how he taught us to be rabbis. He taught us to be kind and decent human beings. He taught us that everyone has something to learn from someone else, and that if you use a Southern accent, people will immediately take 10 IQ points off of what they think you are. He was brilliant, but most of all, he was kind. And if you know a Reform rabbi, their life has been made better because he was their teacher. I also want to say a word about Roz Bankel, who passed away this last week. I think she was 94, something like that. 95 years old. If you've been a member of B'nai Israel for the last 30 years, then you should be lucky enough to have met Roz. And you would have known her as somebody who had energy. I don't think I ever saw or heard Roz when she wasn't, and I met her when she was like 70, and she always had more energy than anyone I had ever met in my life. And she had passion, and she had joy, and I remember thinking, I want to be you when I grow up, because she loved life. And it's probably not appropriate on the Bima on a Shabbat, but I have to say,
You're gonna do it.
I have to. One of her jobs before she got married, keep in mind this woman is 95 years old, so this is a long time ago. She was a lingerie model. And that's how she met her husband, because he was a salesman. And I remember meeting Roz in her 70s, and I was thinking she could probably still be a lingerie model.
Beautiful.
She was gorgeous inside and out. She volunteered tirelessly for our congregation. She was one of the founders of Leisure League. And she's the type of person who makes you feel so grateful that you got to spend time with her. And she will be terribly missed by everyone who got to know her. We also recall tonight the recent passing of a longtime member of our congregation, David Hussey, who is the beloved former husband of Elaine Hussey, beloved father of Rylan Hussey, and beloved father-in-law of Kate Hussey, and beloved grandfather of Charlotte Rose Hussey. We also recall the recent passing of Donald Lester Katz, the beloved father of Andrew Katz and Amy Kenningsberg, beloved father-in-law of Sarah Katz and Larry Kenningsberg, beloved brother of Sandy Alswang, beloved grandfather of Juliet Elise Katz, Matan Gilad, and Sammy Kenningsberg. Zichronam Livracha. May all of their memories forever be a blessing. We also recall loved ones who have passed away at this time in years past. We remember Minnie Anderman, Miriam Barron, Luvania Baskin, Aaron Bekowitz, Edith Budman, Alice Kaplan, Irving Cohen, Albert Cooper, George Christie, Leonard Dresser, Brock Edge, Louis Freifeld, Frida First, Matanya Guinnessar, Frank Goldstein, Alice Green, Lillian Griffin, Luke Grenage, Raphael Grenage, Max Grunwald, Trudy Cohen Heilbronn, Sheldon Jaffe, Herb Levy, Harry Littman, Joseph Littman, Gus Marks, Lucy Moore, Arnold Mayer, David Meredith, Nellie Minkin, Arnold Newberger, Samuel Newman, Anna Novick, Sophie Price, Nathan Rabowski, Albert Ronsky, Erna Ruman, Matt Samoville, Claire Schiff, Alma Schlossberg Sophio, Maury Sauce, Ellen Stevens, Ken Sullivan, Belula Sweet, Donna Tabor, Percy Tochterman, Sophie Tochterman Trifon, Gertrude Weinberg, Donald Winkle, Irving Young, and Stephen Zarabecki. If there are any names that anyone would like to add to the Kaddish list tonight, please feel free to call those names aloud as my gaze meets yours. I'd like to invite those who are saying Kaddish for a loved one tonight to please rise. And if the congregation can please join me in these words of comfort. Hamakom yenechem etchem betok sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We rise to offer comfort to those who grieve as we continue together with the Mourners Kaddish on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei techol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam umei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitolal, shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'marmav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. For our closing song tonight, I ask that we sing Kaddish de Rabbanan on page 667. There are about a half a dozen different Kaddishes. There's the Mourner's Kaddish, there's the Chatzi Kaddish, there's the Graveside Kaddish, there's the Kaddish Shalem, the full Kaddish. But the original Kaddish is actually the Kaddish de Rabbanan, the rabbi's Kaddish. It was traditional when a rabbi would pass away, that a Kaddish de Rabbanan would be said for him by his students, for him because this is before there were hers. It's also traditional when you complete a course of study to say the Kaddish de Rabbanan. The two make sense because you never stop learning until the moment of death. And so for a rabbi, you complete your study with your last breath. And so I want to point out the words for our teachers and their students and the students of their students. A good rabbi doesn't just teach one generation. Their Torah, their teachings get passed on and on and on. And so in memory of my beloved teacher, Rabbi David Ellenson, please join us on page 667.
For our teacher and their students, and the students of the students, we ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. And for those who study Torah here and everywhere, may they be blessed with all they need, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Michael. We conclude our service with the Kiddush and the Motzi. The Kiddush can be found on page 123. You know, Juliet, because you are half French, we should have put wine in there. I apologize, it's only grape juice. Did you not have wine in your baby bottle? Does that not have? Okay, good.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, Be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techilah lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch
Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Chaim u'shalom. Rachamim.
So, as many of you know, this is not the challah you get to eat because we are touching it, but there is a delicious untouched challah awaiting you along with a wonderful oneg. So as soon as we do the motzi, please join us in the social hall for the oneg.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom v'tevon.